Today on Heritage and Hope, we sit down with two pastors from Davao, Philippines, Victor Navarro, Health Ministries Director at SePUM, and David Bornales, Executive Secretary of the Davao Mission. We talk about the push for Sunday laws in the United States, how quickly such legislation could spread globally, and why the Philippines, already familiar with blue laws, may be ready for it. More importantly, the pastors remind us that the heart of evangelism is leading people to the love of Jesus, the true reason for keeping his commandments. This video is a reminder that we are part of a worldwide church family. Hearing from our brothers and sisters around the world is part of staying informed, united, and prayerful in our mission. I was truly blessed by this discussion, and I trust you will be too. Welcome back to Heritage and Hope Ministries. Today we're excited to have some friends from around the world joining us. So what brings you guys here to the United States, and what have you been up to while you're here?
We were privileged to be part of the contingent from the Philippines attending the general session, 62nd general session of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. We were one of those sent by our institution, and this is actually our first time in the Philippines. And the session ended last week, and we're glad to come and visit over here because some of our friends and brethren from here did a missionary trip in the Philippines last year. And so we wanted as well to meet them in person and, of course, see their place personally.
So in regards to the General Conference, it's over now.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it? Was it interesting?
We enjoyed. We met a lot of friends and brethren from other countries.
And leaders as well.
Very good, very good. Well, today we kind of wanted to do a little run through and kind of talk about what you guys are seeing from around the world, talking about how close we are to Christ's return. Mm-hmm. How close are we to seeing end-time events unfold? And, you know, are we ready to go home soon? And one of the things that we kind of do here on this channel is we talk about Sunday laws, because we know from Spirit of Prophecy and from the Bible that there will be a mark of the beast crisis that mm-hmm. will occur. And so, you know, we have a little bit of an introduction to that. James, what are we going to talk about here today?
Yeah, so we do Sunday law updates here, and it's something we're trying to influence as well and get more people involved with in the Adventist world around the globe as kind of being watchmen to see what's going on in signs of the times. So we pay close attention to news articles that we get around the world. We've been watching even some Philippines and elsewhere as well. And we have a little bit of a compilation, kind of a trailer, if you will, for some of the stuff that we've seen around the world. So I started screenshotting like news articles and starting back in COVID area or time period. And I collected over 500 news articles of just discussions about Sunday legislation around the world. So I'll play this clip. It's really short. It's about a minute or two, but it just shows the depth to what this is being discussed, both in the news and from the pulpit from a lot of churches here in the United States.
Yeah, we'll make that law.
Sabbath blue laws.
Blue laws.
A blue law.
Blue laws.
Blue laws.
Blue laws.
Sabbath laws on Sunday.
Maybe the Sabbath laws.
Blue laws.
Blue laws.
Blue laws.
Sunday closing laws.
Blue laws.
Blue laws meant everything was closed.
The blue laws.
Blue laws.
Blue laws.
The blue laws.
Maybe Sunday Sabbath laws.
Or blue laws.
Blue laws.
Or Sabbath laws.
Sabbath laws.
Sabbath laws.
I remember the blue laws.
Stories about the blue laws. When
these laws are known as blue laws.
Blue laws.
Blue laws.
It used to be this thing like we would impose that on the entire culture.
To remember the blue laws.
They have the blue laws.
They were called blue laws.
Sunday blue laws. Everything has to stay closed on a Sunday.
Germany still has blue laws.
So blue laws were Sunday, everything shut down.
Blue laws in America.
The idea of blue laws still makes a lot of sense.
We had blue laws.
Remember the blue laws? Any of you remember reading about that at least?
Almost every state had what was called the blue laws.
Because everything's closed on Sundays. They still have blue laws on Sundays, so everything's closed.
The only way to start the return to moral order in this country is by force. It's the only way.
We really need to be really ruthless when it comes to the exercise of power.
Have you guys seen, there's a lot of discussion these days about blue laws. I think the Philippines has had some history maybe with Sunday legislation kind of being discussed a little bit in the past. Well, what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, we can read there in the internet in Republic Act 946. It was on June 20, 1953, an act to prohibit labor on Sunday. Though it's not only Sunday like Christmas Day, New Year's Day, Holy Thursday, and Good Friday, it is an act. It becomes a law. And, well, since I was born, Sundays is really different from other days. We call it blue laws. Yeah, we know it's blue laws. Anyhow, even during the time of Constantine, it started with Family Day, a Sunday. And now in the Philippines, we know that as a Family Day on Sunday. Sunday law started as Family Day, and it is already started. And as I experienced, it is already started there because it is already called a Family Day. Have a break, it is Family Day. It started with that.
So you see that like your whole life growing up?
Yeah. If you go back to the history started Sunday law as Family Day. It's not a religious law at first. It is a civil law at first.
Now, I'm curious because I'm not from the Philippines myself, but just in hearing this about some of the culture and the legislation, I think our perception as Americans is I think Philippines has historically been thought of as like a majority Catholic.
Yeah, 80%.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And so growing up, did you ever see anybody actually face any legal challenges as a result of violating or breaking Sunday or causing any disruptions? At least up to this point, have you really seen a lot of individuals getting in trouble for that?
Never. Violating of that Sunday. Well, it is not that as a crime, but if you work on that holiday, of course, that is double pay.
Oh.
That is another way.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Making that day as special is different, right? Okay, that is holiday, so it's double. Imagine, I want to take a doctorate. I want to study in master or doctorate, but we do not have Sunday classes. I need to have a special arrangement. So it is as hard as that. If you want to pursue, then you come in on Saturday. No, I go to church on Saturday. No, we are only available on Saturday, but not on Sunday. You see, it gives sense. Yeah,
it's interesting you mentioned like double pay because that's something that we're seeing now being advocated for in the United States. You know, Jonathan Berry wrote Chapter 18 of Project 2025, which is this big manifesto from the Heritage Foundation, and they are kind of a think tank, a conservative think tank that's hoping to restore family and restore American values. And one of the things that he's advocating for in that document is time and a half pay for hours worked on Sunday to amend the Fair Labor Standards Act. The concern that I have with that, at least as Adventists and here in the United States, is that he has said that that's not a panacea. So it's a suggestion that this is only going to kind of start the conversation, but it's going to roll into more and more restrictive laws here in the United States. I had a chance to talk with him actually over the phone, but you can see where there are movements being made, and it's not going to stop, I think, there. He also had an exemption clause to it where he would exempt maybe if you wanted to rest on a Saturday or a different day. But in Adventist history, that exemption clause was offered to us back in 1888 as part of the Blair Act, but we turned it down because the concern at that time was that it was only a step towards a harsher penalty down the road. So
now there's this notion of stages to a Sunday law that is coming. And, it's going to start by just saying, oh, well, you just don't need to work on that day.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next step is worship on that day. And then you can't worship any other day.
That's right.
And progressive, fines, imprisonment, that type thing. And so when you hear these people saying it's not a panacea, that word panacea basically means it's not the end.
It's not going to cure everything.
It's not going to cure everything. So it's a step, but it's not the end. And so they're already admitting themselves that first stage, it's not going to be enough.
It's not enough. That's right. And we know that by history, it's just the first stage.
Right.
It's just a second stage. We are waiting or expecting for something great. Well, the prophecy says, I'm sorry, I forgot the reference from Elijah White says, the implementation of that Sunday law is concealed.
Right. Yeah. It makes its way in darkness.
Yeah. It's like at the middle of the bread. We can see it's the bread, but the middle of the bread is something there. And the significance to us as Christians is not only about that event, but to us who knows the truth. The significance there is, how prepared am I when it is already there?
Yeah.
And for that reason, for those who do not know, who are not prepared, either they know about a certain event or not. If they are not prepared, then they are not prepared. If the person is prepared, then even he just, he's already here already. Anyway, I'm prepared. So that's safe.
So we know as students of Bible prophecy that America is going to form an image to the first beast. First beast being Roman power, right? Roman Catholicism, the papacy. And it's interesting to me to see clips like this coming up. Cultural Christianity and the rise of an American Caesar. Doesn't that reckon back to Rome? Like this. So just for context, so you know what's going on in the United States. The left there, Stephen Wolfe, is the author of the textbook "The Case for Christian Nationalism." He's advocating for Christian nationalism, which, if you think about it, Christian like religion, and then nationalism like nation, or joining together church and state.
That is church and state combination.
Yeah. And take a look at some of the comments he's had here recently with Joe Webbon, specifically on Sabbath laws.
So that's the civil law. Can also include, I think, blasphemy laws, Sunday Sabbath laws.
And there's even economic benefits with that as well. The Sabbath and the aspect of ceasing from work, and not only the aspect of the opportunity to devote yourself to a day of worship, and but just the rest portion of the Sabbath. A family business cannot operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in the way that some large corporation can. And so the Sabbath, its chief function would be providing opportunity to worship, providing the nation's citizens with a day of rest and recalibration, and but then also even economic, at least potentially in theory there could be the potential of economic equalizing effects for small businesses and opportunity.
I think, when people ask me what laws would you want, I think having blue laws, the Sunday Sabbath laws, really is the first thing that happened. Like, it's not blasphemy laws, it's not laws against heretics, because that really defines for a community what it is, that we are a Christian people because we set aside that day of worship. And it's a very public thing. Like, you drive around and all the ordinary commerce is closed down. I mean, there's emergency and this and that are permitted, but it really, it sets the ethos of the community, which is we're Christian people. I think you can have effective Christian laws and customs among people that are not actually regenerate. So they can assent to it, they can operate in it, they don't exercise true internal faith.
Right.
And this is why I think you can establish Sabbath laws apart from a sort of revival. You just need people to assent to it because we're Christian, but they actually are not.
And even the Sabbath laws, we're not arguing for mandated church attendance, but forbidden commerce.
So, what's interesting is what some of the quotes from Ellen White that she talks about this. She says, political corruption is destroying the love of justice and regard for truth. And even in free America, rulers and legislators, in order to secure public favor, will yield to the popular demand for a law enforcing Sunday observance.
Compromise,
that's right. And if you drop down further in Last Day Events, she says, this very class put forth the claim that the fast-spreading corruption is largely attributable to the desecration of the so-called Christian Sabbath, and that the enforcement of Sunday observance would greatly improve the morals of society. This claim is especially urged in America, where the doctrine of the true Sabbath has been most widely preached. So, we're going to see this Sunday observance start in the United States. But you guys are from outside the United States.
Yeah.
How quickly do you think the rest of the countries of the world will fall in line with that Sunday decree?
Well, I think we don't know how quick is that, but I think it's quite quick. Remember what happened to COVID-19?
Yeah.
nobody expects that to be implemented that quick.
Oh,
when
exactly.
That virus makes the world fall down on its knees, and even the church itself doesn't expect that lots of prohibition will be done.
Oh, yeah.
Not only with regards to the health issues, but even to the services in the church. A while ago, you asked us about what are some of the difficulties and challenges we're facing with regards to Sunday implementations. Well, there is a popular case in the government. It is being even brought to the Supreme Court, in which one of our students who stood for the Sabbath, who did not take exams and some requirements being implemented by the schools on the Sabbath, those cases are being brought even to the Supreme Court. And because of that, well, good for the side of the church, because before that happened, the government only has one schedule for any board or licensure examination.
Right.
And usually it falls on Saturday. But after the Supreme Court ruling, and because of that, students standing for what is right, then every year there are two licensure examination schedules.
Right.
One has a schedule that would fall on Saturday, and the other option is Sunday. But that happened simply because there is really an intent and an attempt to really implement something that would coerce people to submit themselves on such.
Right.
The impression, at least, and I may be wrong on this, but my impression is in watching some of the cultures in some of the countries, maybe the Philippines, maybe South America, Central America, elsewhere, maybe in Europe, where there's been a culture that's predominantly influenced historically by Catholicism. The impression I get is that the culture is there in such a way that when it happens in the United States, there's going to be nothing that slows it down. It's going to be something that's already kind of like natural. It feels very acceptable for cultures around the world.
Yeah, and in the island where we are living, because Philippines is an archipelago, it's composed of more than 7,000 islands, but there are three major group of islands: the Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. In the island where we are living, a big part of it is also being occupied or settled upon by our Muslim brothers. And what's amazing about it, it's because, of course, our Muslim brothers worship on Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
But when the government started to implement programs that fell on Sunday, it's quite amazing that some of these Muslim brothers of ours aligned to it.
Really?
It's quite amazing because we firmly believe before that one of those people that would strongly oppose an explanation is from these people.
Yeah.
But now, because they are trying as well to solicit good impression and favor from our government leaders, then even these people who are hardcore to their faith as well are starting even to compromise.
Yeah.
But we should have expected that. If you look at like Fratelli Tutti, one of the things that Pope Francis was trying to do was to create favor with the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar. And you start to see some of the countries that you would think were predominantly Muslim or having some kind of influence there from Islam. I may be wrong on this, but Malaysia was one country, if I remember correctly, that there was the prime minister who was advocating for Sunday, surprise. And so I think that we will see the Muslims and the Islamic community joining on this and actually embracing Sunday more and more as time goes by.
Is it a state requirement that people are paid double time on Sunday, or is that just what everybody does?
No, as long as it is holiday, when you do the work on holiday, because it is a demand for you to do the work, then you have double pay because that is holiday.
Is that based off the state that makes that decision, or is that just the business that makes that decision?
No, it is a law.
It's a law.
It's a labor law.
Wow.
So one of the questions I have is, we know that there have been in recent years some big movements by Seventh-day Adventists to reach and to share our faith in the Philippines. What are some ways in which you've seen God leading in reaching the local communities, warning them about what's coming, and how can our community who watches support? What are some ways that we can support, and what's going on? How is God working in your local communities?
Well, of course, we are doing to the community for evangelism. Philippines is really active in evangelism. We have now for this year, Harvest 25. We are making our people, the church members, not only the pastors doing the work doing evangelism, the disciples making. Yeah, they preach, the elders, the leaders of the church, with the members through the care group, they preach in the community. But the most important here is also our members. They are prepared so that when that Sunday law comes, when it is fully implemented, everybody is prepared. We know what the prophecy says. Many of our church members will fall away. And I hope my church members will not be part of those who fall away. Because I like to read this one. I mentioned this a while ago in Webbon Herald, January 1, 1889 says, there is a satanic force propelling the Sunday movement, but it is concealed. And even the men who engage in the work are themselves blinded to the results which will follow their movement. You see, it is concealed. It might be the process takes long, the debate, the propaganda, and when it is implemented, it's not intently for that Sunday alone, but it's something that is where the Sunday law is concealed. Say, for example, in that encyclical letter, part of that, in the later part of that letter is there. You must observe Sunday as how the Jews observe Saturday. Imagine that. When that letter will be implemented in a nation, then Sunday law is absolutely implemented. It is concealed there. It is not about the Sunday. It's about for the humanity, for the culture, for the good of the people. And that is good news. That is good news. Yes, it is good news. When that will be implemented, we do not, it's already Sunday law. But the question there is how prepared our people are when that comes.
Yeah.
And that is the most important.
Yeah.
The preparation of our people, whether they like it or not, whether they know it or not, when that time comes, how prepared each individual of our members for that Sunday law. Are they closer to God each day?
Yeah.
Are they growing each day? Are they spiritually
So most
focused?
So most of the laws that are being implemented with the guise of serving community are just but smoke screen for what is really coming.
Yeah.
And that is the Sunday law. Well, you did mention how what is this question again? How can we help? I mean, the evangelism, preparing our people. Well, we've been doing our best really to present the truth, especially concerning the true Sabbath. But unfortunately, some of our friends also who are on the other side are making some counter measures on how to repel all of those presentations. They wanted to invalidate our claims. They wanted even to falsify all of this, saying that indeed this is the true Sabbath according to their version. But the good news is a lot of people really, their eyes and their minds have been opening to this. And, you know, what you're doing here is really one of the powerful that's good. Because there are people who are quite shy to attend our public meetings, but they are actually making their personal research, browsing the internet, watching some of the podcasts like this, and some other stuff that could help them understand. And sometimes we were surprised that these people are coming inside the church. And when we asked them who recommended them and who maybe even befriended them, they would say, well, I make a personal study of it. I saw this on video and I wanted to learn more and practice myself. So I think God has really his own mysterious way of, calling people. Yeah. We don't know. Only eternity will tell how this kind of ministry did a powerful impact to a lot of people.
That's right.
Well, we want to share with you something here today, showing how this is an old Protestant idea. This is John Lavington's work from this particular one is 1744, where he speaks, we read in Revelation 14, of a twofold mark of distinction. Some had the mark of God and the Lamb in their foreheads, others the mark and badge of Antichrist. Some public token by which it is known to whom they belonged. Now God says here he would make it the due sanctification of the Sabbath to be his mark and badge, or a sign by which it might be known whether any did belong to him or not. Thomas Tillam also said, is not this the whore's mark to change the saints' times, recognizing that the mark of the beast was Sunday and the long-slighted seventh day would be ultimately restored? And here is George Carlo. Is not this the whore of Babylon's mark to change the saints' times? And suitable is that word of this case, remove from me the way of lying, and grant me thy law graciously. In saying Jesus Christ changed the Sabbath, you make him a transgressor. So these were Protestants who long before Seventh-day Adventists recognized that Rome's mark was Sunday. And of course, as Adventists, we know that the mark of the beast test, nobody's got the mark right now, but we're saying that the mark of the beast test is going to happen when it is implemented by law and everybody is brought to a decision, an informed decision,
Correct.
whether you will obey God or whether you will obey man. And this idea that Adventists have is not something that is new, brand new, that was invented out of thin air, but is strongly Bible-based, going back to Ezekiel 20, verse 12, 20, verse 20, Exodus 31:17. You've got Deuteronomy 6, verses 6 through 8, where God's law marks our hand and our forehead. And we're going to see this come to a climax at the end of time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys noticed, though, in that video from Stephen Wolfe, one of the things he commented on is individuals who might obey the law, but not actually be regenerate. In other words, they're obeying it just to go along and just to get a free pass. I was thinking when he was saying that somebody's going to get the mark on the hand right there, because that's what you're doing. You're not believing it, but you're doing it. Yeah, you're doing it just to escape punishment. So
I think the last day events mentioned about that, just pretending you're not obeying, but you're just going there, but actually you're already doing that. You're receiving the mark of the beast. It is not an excuse. When that time comes, if the heart of the person is not prepared to accept, to obey God regardless of the loss of his life, then he's not prepared. It's about choosing between God, loving God more, or going with the world. It is in 1 John 2:15, love not the world, nor anything that is in the world. If you love the world, then the love of the Father is not in you. What is that? The lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. These are the things that holding us, that makes us unable to receive the seal of God, rather the mark of the beast. It is our love, where our love belongs, where our heart belongs. That is, so go back to that question a while ago. That's why when we present here in Philippines, I observe as evangelist there for many years. I observe if I present to the community about this truth, and of course this is always part of the truth that we're presenting to the community about the true Sabbath. If we present there as focus on loving God, they can easily accept. But if we present this truth as a way of combating them, bombarding them, and making quarrel on them, you have the Sunday and that is the mark of the beast, the stones will fly over your roof.
So what you're saying is the
it
way
should be focused on love.
The way we need to present this is to put Christ at the center.
Christ-centered presentation. It is out of our love that we follow God rather than the culture of man. It should be love-focused. It is God-focused. It's Christ-centered focus. Presentation.
Sometimes, for convenience sake, a lot of people would really compromise and would, after all, miss what is in store for us in eternity because of comfort, maybe, because of they just want to have an easy life. But remember, all of this, if God allow things to happen, simply because He knows our capacities to bear. So encouragement is we have to continue to strive on. We know that God is a victorious God. He did a lot and so much for us, for our salvation already. And what He's only expecting us is to follow Him and be His channel of blessings to others.
Yes.
In our language, can I now?
Yes, go ahead and just say it right into the camera.
Sa tanan namo nga mga kaigsuonan, sa tanan namo nga mga kaigalahan diha sa Pilipinas o sa Davao City, daghang salamat sa inyong pagpaminaw. Amo kamong ginadasig nga magpadayon kita sa pagpaminaw o pagtuon sa Biblia, sa pulong sa Ginoo, ug hinaot nga atong alagaran ang Ginoo sa tinuod nga adlaw ipapahulay ang iyang adlaw nga Sabado. So daghang salamat ug ang Ginoo magapanalangin kanatong tanan.
Okay, my turn to talk to you in my dialect, and of course I'll also talk that one in English later. Okay, akong gikalipay ang pagbato ini kay gayunan sa tanan nato maglalantaw diha sa Visayas ug sa Mindanao uban naa sa tibuok kalibutan nga nakasabot og Bisaya. Nga diin ang atong pagpangandam dili lang mahitungod sa pagtuman sa balaod focus, kun dili mahitungod usab kini sa atong paghigugma sa Dios, kay ang paghigugma sa Dios maghatod kanato sa pagtuman sa balaod tungod kay ang gugma sa Dios na padayag diha sa iyang balaod. Yun siya higugma ang Dios sa tibok ng kasing-kasing kalagwan una. Mga higala, ang pinaka-importante mo kini, unsa kita kasuod sa Dios, ang tanan mosunod na. Bisag unsa pay panghitabo karon sandilo na ugma, pero karon dili andam tong kasing-kasing na mawagid ta. Kinahanglan andam da kanunay makigsuod ta sa Ginoo og tama ni atong bantayan ug unsa ni panghitabo sa kalibutan karon mahitungod sa adlaw ipapahulay ug mahitungod sa Domingo nga gihimo ng Domingo. Mga higala, pagigsuod lang sa Dios. I like to say this in English. The most important here is we are closely connected with God each day. Our love to God binds us with God and will never lost even the Sunday look arrives tomorrow. And we will be and they will apprehend us and they'll say, okay, you're a Sunday keeper? No, okay, I'll kill you. Even that will happen tomorrow. If we are connected closely to God because our love to God is very strong, then we have nothing to fear because of love. In love, there's no fear.
Amen. Amen. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us for this special episode here on Heritage and Hope Ministries. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can stay up to date and see the new episodes when they come out.